Hey, so 117 came out like a few weeks ago, and Illumina and I just wanted to capitalize on it, so I hope that explains the setup I got going. I can assure you this is not Illumina's footage, I just stole his soul. But anyways, I think I'm just gonna give a rundown of how 117 works and what the little differences are between 117 and 116, and then I'll shut up and you can just listen to the run. Okay, so overworld-wise, obviously a village is the best answer because getting beds outside of a village is pretty tricky. It's still possible, but it's very inconsistent. And that's just because of the infamous trades nerfs from Bastion, where pearls are nerfed, and not just that, string trades are nerfed too. So getting all of your string for beds from a Bastion, it's still very possible, but there's just no consistency. But in the end, the most important thing you can do in 117 and, well, I guess 116 is enter the Nether as fast as possible. But that's more important in 117 because Bastion chests can have food and iron way more consistently than 116 bastions. Which means if you just have basic tools and nothing else entering a bastion, you can leave with a full run's worth of food and like an iron pick, or you can even make an anvil because the bastion just gives you iron blocks, because why not? And as good as that is, bastions are still the slowest part of 117, and that's just because Piglin AI got completely demolished for some reason in this version. The way you used to do routes is you would break a gold block or a chest, and it would aggro all nearby piglins, so you could easily funnel them all together and trade them super quick. But in 117, you can break a chest, you can punch a piglin, you can do anything to them, but if you just like walk behind a wall, they forget you exist because they basically just turn piglins into passive mobs, and it's very hard to get them trading. So I had to learn where piglins liked to group up the most in bastions and literally just throw gold directly into their faces to do a route. And it wasn't that bad because there were some strange spots in bastions where piglins just group up so you can actually make this scuffed route. Oh yeah, and of course, brutes. Brutes were always one of the biggest concerns of newer versions whenever people talked about speedrunning past 116. But I'm here to tell you that brutes are probably dumber than piglins and are not a threat. Brutes also have their own specific spots where they spawn in bastions, and since their pathfinding is so aggressive, there's certain ways you can tower up or dig a hole and they'll just walk right off the edge because they're just so dumb. And for the chests of bastions, chests are completely broken now. Instead of the trades being insane and the chests being garbage like they were in 116, they just made it so the trades were garbage and the chests were insane. So it's still broken, just in a different way that disfavors speedrunners. And when I said chests were broken, I meant, yeah, you can get iron blocks out of the chest, but you can also get food. And it's not just any food, you can get cooked pork chops and golden carrots, which are some of the best saturation foods in the game, and they're just handed to you. Another thing is you can get randomly enchanted iron swords in chests, and you can get multiple at a time, and each sword has its own, I think, 1 in 10 chance to have looting on it, which means you can get extra pearls and your blaze fight becomes, like, as minimal as possible. Now with Piglin AI and chests aside, if you know where every gold block is in every bastion, you can expect to leave a bastion a little bit less than half the time with 10 or more pearls, because we all know about the infamous pearl rates getting completely demolished in this version. I think they're about a fourth of what they used to be. And same thing goes for string trades, so have fun. Oh yeah, that's another thing. The one thread that kept me onto 117 for this long is that there are no ghost buckets in this version. Ghost buckets are terrible in 116, but in this version they fixed the simple mechanic of a bucket. Incredible. By the way, I had no business playing out this slow of an enter. I reset pretty hard in this version and usually go for sub 3, but at least I spawned by a bastion. So I figure my way out around the terrain and try to identify what bastion it is, and it's like, oh cool, it's a treasure. And then I just leave and look for a different bastion, so I microlens, and there is one right this way. Yeah, unfortunately treasure is just not something you can play in 117. The terrain inside the treasure is so bad that you might be able to get 2 or 3 piglins trading at once, and that would take you ages to trade. And as I was saying earlier, piglins will lose AI if you walk behind a wall, and I'm not kidding, it doesn't need to be a wall, you can hide your head behind a block, and the piglins will forget you're there. And if you've seen the inside of a treasure bastion, it's very claustrophobic hallways with pillars everywhere, so it's impossible to keep piglins aggro on you But that should give you a pretty good idea of how bastions work, and hopefully this stables makes a pretty good example. Now there's a few things in 117 that are missing from 116, such as a pie chart and planar fog, and both are very important in finding a fortress or resetting your nethers efficiently. Basically in speedrunning, you can use the pie chart to help you figure out if there's a spawner anywhere within your render distance. And fortresses have spawners, but if there's no fortress, then there will be no spawner, so you'll know that your nether is probably pretty garbage. So what they did in 117 is they made it so the pie chart sucks, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't update ever, so it's completely useless, and that means every time I have a bastion at all ever, I have to play the whole thing out and just hope there's a fortress, which means I have to waste a lot of time on a run that's probably just gonna die. But let's just assume you got everything and you're able to blind. A good time to blind would be a sub 14 or sub 13 because that'll put you on pretty safe pace to get world record, at least in this category, because at the time it was only 19 minutes. And the endgame in general is pretty similar to 116 except for strongholds. Stronghold generation was changed so that terrain forms around the stronghold, which basically means you can't get an ocean exposed portal room or stronghold anymore, which is pretty bad because having an ocean exposed stronghold or even portal room in 116 is huge because you get to skip digging down and navigating the stronghold. But they yoinked that too in 117, so you have to triangulate it and dig down, well, at least more often than you used to. However, this run was a bit unique stronghold wise, although I'm not going to spoil it. And that's all the basics for 117 pretty much. If you want to run it, don't. 1, because it's terrible, and 2, because I want to keep this world record. But if you really want to play it, then my condolences. Go right ahead. That's all for me. Hope you enjoy watching. Smash like and subscribe, and I'll try to upload within the next month.
Guys, don't tell anyone. I have Illumina trapped in my basement right now. I made him play 117 for me.